Hey, welcome back to my video series on the 6'2 multi-8 youth football defense. This is Coach Parker again, bringing you this video. Wanted to talk about kind of an introduction into the 6'2 wide tackle. I know I've gone through intro of the defense and expectations and then all the formation shifts. But since the 6'2 wide tackle is really the base formation of the 6'2 series, I really wanted to kind of hit this hard and heavy today and go through kind of a full intro just on the 6'2 wide tackle. Big proponent of the 6'2 wide tackle. I know Dave Caesar is really high on the wide tackle. If you haven't read him, he's another published youth football coach. Drew Tallman, there's a book here that I've got, Directory of Football Defenses. It's a great book. If you don't have it, you can find it on Amazon. It's a used book. He talks about the wide tackle 6 or the 6'2 wide tackle. I think this was published it's 1969, but he's got this and several other defenses that actually we move into out of the 6'2 wide tackle. But it's a highly recognized run defense and is used very well. I've used it since about 2005 or so. Great defense. So let's get right into it. I've got an I formation set up here on offense, and this is how before the play is called, my defense is always set up in a 6'2 wide tackle. If I forget to make a call or whatever, the defense is always in a 6'2 wide tackle as they set up. As you can see right here, the gunner and the nose guard, or the nose, so the gunner and the nose, NG nose guard, they're set up in the A gaps in the 6'2 wide tackle. I have them shade the inside shoulder of the guard here and then shoot. The target is the heels of the quarterback. That's kind of their lane. So that's what I want them to shoot. Their lane is the inside heels of the quarterback. So they're basically going to shoot in right here on the ball snap from that A gap position. That's what I'm looking for them. And want them to penetrate fast, no reading, no nothing. The issue with the two A gappers here, because they're sitting in the A gap, and my A gap is called Apache. We play at least one minimum play player there. We're a rec league. We have to get a certain player, a certain number of plays, if not 2 players. But usually we have a big nose guard and a small gunner, which is the minimum play player, and then we rotate kind of a linebacker hybrid in there for gunner. But the A-gappers are basically inside shoulder of the guards there, and they've got A-gap responsibility. No dives, quick up the middle plays, no quarterback sneaks kind of thing. And they're aiming for the back of the heels of the quarterback. And then the tackles, Dan and Tank for defensive tackle, they're on the inside shoulder of the tight end. And sometimes I have them lined head up, depending on if I can get them to. Sometimes they don't understand the inside shoulder, so it's easier just to say go head up. But I prefer them on the inside shoulder, especially, a lot of offensive teams, they block guy, gap on down. So these tackles will double team down here, and this defensive tackle can shoot off there. Now, what we want them to do for defensive tackles is I want them to penetrate and then basically set up at the butt of the offensive tackle and not get too deep so they can run underneath them. And I really want this lane or this angle to be kind of the front foot of the fullback. But they've got to penetrate. What we see in this youth football is these guys, they know they're supposed to to penetrate the gap is they'll actually wash down in here too skinny and too narrow, and we actually want them to penetrate here and then set up about right here to help in the C and the B gap. So make sure your guys are not pinching too much, but actually going up and then kind of over and hanging out. So their inside butt cheek should almost be sitting on the outside butt cheek of that tackle. And that's kind of the lane there that we're looking for them to do. And then that's 4 of the 6. And then let's talk about the 2 most important players really in the 6'2" wide tackle, at least for how I play it, are the 2 defensive ends or outside linebackers, whatever you want to call them, which is Will and Sam. And W here is for wide side, is where I've got my Will going, and Sam is on the short side. And so we do have a wide and a short side. So Will is the faster of the 2 and a little bit better tackler. But these 2 guys are probably the best 2 tacklers on my team. They're headhunters, and we have them go, go, go. And we do a pass blitz versus a boxing thing for our contain guys, defensive ends and outside linebackers. So it's an angle versus kind of the up and turn in. And so we have our guys try to get 1 to 3 yards outside the end of the man on the line, which right now it's Tex here. And he's going to try to go at an angle basically to 1 yard behind that tailback. And what that does is it sets him up to hit the apex of the sweep. And so if the tailback comes out and he's gone there, you see how he hits him there? So he's aiming for about 2 yards behind that deepest back. And your scouting report could kind of help you talk about that. If he sees, the ball and the play dump, he can fall back down, but he is never really to crash and come into here and make a tackle. He should be up high and fall back down and pinch back down here, but never to crash. We talk about that every practice. So his lane is 2 yards behind the deepest back. So those guys should meet. So really, when all 6 of these guys kind of go, you've got this action here, this action here, so you've got kind of a wall set up here. And if they penetrate fast enough, because we've had really good defensive tackles and defensive ends, and I call Will and Sam defensive ends for right now, so you guys don't kill me because I play them sometimes like outside linebackers. But anyway, if you have really good 4 of these guys really don't know who to block, your tight ends and tackles, and one of these 2 guys are going to make almost every tackle. We've had games where the linebackers and corners have not made tackles because these 4 guys have made just about every tackle. So that's how that should be set up right there. And like I said, I played D-end outside linebacker in high school and junior high. We tell our guys not to hook up with any blocker. You want to, of course, keep the outside shoulder free and arms so you can stay high and make your contain and take everything on with your inside shoulder. But I really want them to blow by with speed that tight end before he even knows what happens. And I want to cause, at least in youth football, a lot of havoc right here. Because the more pressure and the more that I can get into the backfield from what we see, it just causes so much trouble on the quarterback. So we want to get those 2 guys fast into the backfield to cause a lot of trouble. So that's our front 6 there. The 2 now is our Rover and Mike linebackers, and these are the 2 other best tacklers on the team. So the 4 best tacklers are basically the D-ends and the 2 linebackers here. So these 2 guys in the 6'2" wide tackle, they have B gap and then flow. So B and then they flow out. And in an I formation, depending on the scouting, I usually, in youth football, I'm having them read the tailback. So they're in the I formation, they're both reading a tailback. So they're going to read the tailback. If he dives, he'll step up. He's got overflow there if it's going to this side. So they're reading that there. They've got to be really, really smart. So really, these 4 players are usually our backfield. They know how to move around a lot and know how to call plays, and that's usually how that all works there. But yeah, so the linebackers have B gap and then flow to the outside. And if the play flows to the opposite side, make sure the backside linebackers get cut back. So I don't want them just flowing out here. So he's going to hang out right about here if the play went to an 8-hole. Yeah, so he's got B gap in that. The corners have the first man from the outside. So there he is. He's got to cut him off on the inside. This corner's got the tight end here, and I have them set up. In older age groups, I have them go ahead and set up right here. In younger age groups, when I know they're not passing, I move the corner up here and help out with run support. So the corner has this receiver because he's the first man. This corner has this guy. And then Fred here, the free safety, is going to have this tight end and help right in here. The corners are usually some of the best open field tacklers, especially the wide side corner. Backside corner doesn't have to have a whole lot of speed, but has to play smart. My Fred, I have to say, is usually the quarterback. They're setting back there and playing free safety. He sets about 10 to 15 yards, sometimes at 20 if I go into a pass kind of thing, and I think they're going to pass. But he's basically playing center field. So the 2 corners are playing more, they're playing kind of zone pass, run, read there. If their guy blocks, they're going to play run. If their guy goes out, they'll kind of take him in and play man-to-man. So they're having to read kind of run pass first, and then they go. Fred, really, if he's not in a blitz call, is playing pretty much pass defense all the time. The one thing that you can do in this 6'2 wide tackle that I do a lot for the younger age groups is I'll play Fred like a rover back or a monster back, since I've got a rover in this. I play him more like a monster, so it kind of moves into a 6'3". Especially if they're running this wing, you can move into this Fred dog position here and having blitz this and do a lot of this. Have him move up into linebacker here. Move those guys out a little bit. You move your guards out a little bit and have him play in this middle linebacker. So that's one thing that with the 6'2", you can move into this 6'3" kind of thing really, really fast. And then if you've got, a receiver that's really, really good, you can set up an over the top here kind of thing and then rotate those guys. But that's pretty much the intro there on the 6'2 wide tackle. The corners, pretty much good open field tackles, good speed. Fred's usually my quarterback, understands football, understands the passing game, very, very smart. 2 best tacklers are my DNs. 4 best tacklers are the DNs, Rover and Mike. Next really good tacklers are the D tackles. And then the nose guard guys, I can play minimum play players if I need to there and weaker players. But really the nose guard here should be your better of the 2 out of those. But that's kind of a quick intro into the 6'2 wide tackle. The 6'2 wide tackle, like I said, is my base defense. And in the other video, I said my wide tackle was a fist. But the wide tackle call really is an open hand here. You can see that. That's wide. And tight is that. Wide and tight. So when I call this defense from the sidelines, this is over my head and this is for wide. And this is my base defense. This is what we're in. If I'm before the play is the offensive play, offensive team breaks the huddle and they come up, I'll be setting this, and then we move to what I call once I see what the offense is doing. So that's a quick intro just into the 6'2 wide tackle. Hope you enjoyed that. Stay tuned. I'll start talking about maybe later today or tomorrow the personnel and what I'm looking for in the personnel, and then I'll move into the 6'2 tight later on in the week. So thanks again. Please comment in the comments and like us if you can. That really helps out the channel. And hopefully you're having a great day. Remember to play for fun, and winning is funner. Thanks a lot. Coach Parker signing off.